Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Compassionate Response with COVID-19, my buddy. So this morning, we're just going to do meditation, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the topic of winds. So this is a teaching where we kind of the Buddha says we kind of get blown about by these worldly winds, like pleasure and pain, and praise and blame, that sort of thing. So I think it's worth bearing all this in mind. That we can just get caught up in expecting things to be a particular way, and then when they're not, we suffer. Anyway, yeah. So I'll get onto that later on. But before, we'll just do a little bit of seated body work. So just clasp your hands together like that, and then just slowly rotate your clenched hands, and just have a sense of uprightness in your back, so you're enjoying the energy in your back. And have a sense of letting go in your legs. Just let your legs kind of fall away towards the ground. Maybe open your chest a little bit. Have some space under your armpits. And imagine like an arrow pointing up from the crown of your head upwards. So it's like lifting your crown of your head towards the sky. And imagine that at your knees, there's like arrows pointing away from your hips, so that your knees, your thighs are becoming longer. So yeah, just looking for kind of effects on your body, adjusting what you're doing to, do you need to do smaller circles or larger circles? Do you need to be more conscious of what you're doing? So is there any sensation in your stomach as you do this movement? Do you need to let go of it in your stomach? And then shake out your hands. Imagine just brushing any tension off the ends of your arms and fling it out the window. And just brushing any tension off your face, off your body, off your legs. Just fling it out the window. All right, so I know it makes a big difference when we do proper body work, but yeah, sometimes it's just nice to have a break. So we're going to do mindfulness breathing in 4 stages. So taking your attention into the contact of your body with the ground and the seat that you're sitting on. And feeling into the structure of your body, trying to sense where the bones are, sense the dynamics of the way that the weight is going down through your skeleton. So just letting your body sit there, so we're looking for a natural balance and ease in our postures, giving a bit of attention to the angle that your spine is making, with your seat. And keep coming back in the meditation to checking that you're not leaning over one way or another. Because if you're leaning over, then you'll have to be applying tension to one side of your body. And tension leads to stress and pain. And away from concentration. And tuning into all of the sensations that you're experiencing, the physical sensations in your body. And trying to just receive all that input, all that information, all that pleasure and pain into a soft awareness. So it's like you're just letting yourself experience sensation. And same with the other senses. So that's a sense of touch. Same with hearing and sight. Just imagine that the sound impacts on the ear and then turns into electricity, moves down the nerves into the brain. Same with the eye, whatever you can see. If your eyes are closed, you probably still see some sort of vague light or something. It just turns into electricity, moves down the nerves into the brain. So you're just receiving the world of sensation into soft awareness. And then allowing the sensations of your breath, the movement of your breath, to come more into the forefront of your experience. And just choosing to try and absorb yourself into the experience of the breath. And then whenever your mind wanders off from that, just gently bringing it back without tension. So there's no such thing it's happened, and then just picking up on the next bit of detail in the breath. And marking the end of the out breath with a count. Mindfulness of breathing. Breathing in, breathing out, count 1. Breathe in, breathe out, count 2, until you get to 10. And start from 1 again. So in the second stage of mindful breathing, move the count to just before the breath begins. Third stage, you just stay with sensations of the breath and let go of any counting. So just checking that you still letting the world into a soft awareness. You're not hardening against the world or tensing up around it. And staying with the sensations of the breath from moment to moment. So now we have the opportunity to refine our awareness even more. So the object to the meditation now is to try and be as aware of the little delicate little sensations that are there in the breath as the breath first enters into the body. Very slight, delicate sensations around the nose or mouth. Giving those sensations the space that they need. But refining our awareness to just be quite sensitive. And now just beginning to bring your meditation to a close. Being aware of your breath as a whole, not generally, expanding out from the delicate sensations around your nose and your mouth. Being aware of the world outside, bird song, sound of traffic, or whatever you can experience, sensations in your body. And in your own time, bringing your meditation to a close. You see. Okay. So, so today's topic is the 8 worldly winds. So what are the 8 worldly winds? There's pleasure and pain, loss and gain, praise and blame, and fame and infamy. And so why they call it 8 worldly winds? I suppose the idea is that they kind of blow us about, or they kind of buffet us about, kind of we're just trying to get on with our life, and then something happens and we experience loss, or even we experience gain. It's kind of we're so acclimatized to like familiarity, really, that something happens even when it's a good thing. I mean, I remember like when I got the flat I'm living in now, it was a council flat in about 2001, and to actually receive a flat that I would have for the rest of my life it took a lot of getting used to, really. It's like a bit of a shock. It was a positive thing, but I felt a bit sort of shaken by it. So yeah. What is the aim of Buddhism? I suppose the aim of Buddhism is to address the existential problems of life. The Buddha Buddha-to-be Gautama, he sort of saw the three sights of old age, sickness, and death. He sort of realised on some deep level that no matter what you did in life, that you would end up suffering and being ill, dying, getting old if you got that far. So he then followed the fourth sight, which was seeing a holy man, and he ended up kind of attaining enlightenment. So he solved the problem. So in a way, I suppose he stopped being blown about by the 8 worldly winds. I don't know what to say, really. No, I prepared it. I suppose, I'll just speak about things in my own experience. I mean, I don't kind of feel I'm all that great with loss. I think sometimes people seem to be able to kind of feel their feelings quite well, and then they experience the pain and everything, and then they go through the stages of grief. There's anger, and there's bargaining, and there's depression, and then there's acceptance in the end. So when you lose somebody, it's like you have to go through those stages, get angry about it, and get depressed about it and stuff. So there's a kind of form of processing whereby in the end, on some level, you've accepted that thing, and so this is all part of the process of insight, gaining insight. That you end up accepting some of the realities of life. I suppose that those realities can come as each of those worldly winds. They can come as pain. We can be all right, and then we can end up with an injury or something, or I mean, I did stomachache yesterday, and it just takes over, doesn't it? When you have something like that. So it's hard to sort of see. It's hard to concentrate really on things when you're in a lot of pain. And in terms of fame and infamy, I mean, I talked about this last Friday, I think, about celebrity and being have this love-hate relationship with fame, and it was quite interesting yesterday. I was working quite a lot through the day, and I ended up looking at YouTube a little bit, and I just saw this. I saw this post, and it was saying that that Johnny Rotten, the punk rocker, from the late 70s, he owned a flat in Gunter Grove, just south of Earls Court, in the late 70s and early 80s. and a friend of mine at the time worked for Virgin Records, and he told me where he lived. I was living in Earl's Court at the time from 77 onwards, and one of my great disappointments in life was that I didn't actually had an opportunity to see the Sex Pistols on a sort of secret tour thing in December 77, and I couldn't go really because I had something else I had to do. But yeah. But anyway, yes. So I've been under the illusion that Johnny Rotten lived at 40 Gunter Grove in Earl's Court, and actually sent him a postcard at the time, and I just found out yesterday that he didn't live at 40 Gunter Grove. He lived at 45 Gunter Grove. So I've been under the illusion that for 40 years that I communicated with Johnny Rotten in 79 or something. And just, yeah. So there's something about, I don't know, it's kind of, it's humiliating, isn't it, to think something happened and it didn't happen. So yeah, I'm just riffing here a bit. I'm not organised at all. So on the subject of humility and disappointment, there's in Japan, you get Zen Buddhism in Japan, but the vast majority of Buddhists in Japan are what's called Pure Land Buddhists, Jodo Shinshu Buddhists of one form or another, and so in that tradition, there's a guy called Shinran. Shinran. God, Shinran, and Shinran. In a way, he was a monk. The story is that he was a monk, and he practiced like intensively for like 20 years or something. And at the time, there was the idea that it was getting harder and harder to practice Buddhism, and it was called the age of degenerate Dharma. So I don't know why that was the case, but sometimes it is harder, It's like you can imagine, conditions for religions being sometimes easier and sometimes harder when you've got like regimes that are sympathetic and when they're not. So this was the age of degenerate Dharma, seen as, and so it's seen as hard to practice Buddhism, which is kind of a bit weird because at the time you had these amazing temples and sculptures and everything. I remember going to this exhibition in London, and there were these big sort of figures that would stand at the entrance to the temple, like wrathful kind of figures, and they were like 15 foot high, and they were hewn out of like oak or something. Fantastic bits of work. So why that would be seen as part of the age of decadent Dharma, I don't know. Anyway, Shinran kind of felt like he hadn't got anywhere in his spiritual life, and so he gave up being a monk, and he just became a ordinary person, and he kind of wandered around among the peasants and the fishermen and all that sort of thing. And there was over the centuries, there was a kind of a lineage of Pure Land teachers. Pure Land Buddhism is where it means having faith in Amitabha. Amitabha is the Buddha of infinite light. That's his name. That's what his name means, Amitabha, or Amida Buddha. So the idea was that Amida Buddha, vowed that that he would bring all beings into his Pure Land realm. So Pure Land is like a kind of a world where everything is fantastic. It just sort of like everything just happens when you want it to happen, and it's a beautiful place. It's fantastically ornamented, and it's just like everything is exactly as you would like. It's a happy land, Sakavati, and you hear the Dharma all the time, and everyone's really friendly and but real, and so the idea is that because the age was like not seen as very conducive, that if you chanted Amida's name a number of times, that you were guaranteed to enter into the Pure Land when you died. So this is Pure Land Buddhism, and so the patriarchs of Pure Land Buddhism, kind of more and more as they went on, and culminating in Shinran, they were kind of humble people. Shinran called himself a stubble-headed bompo. It means kind of like fool, really. So it's the opposite of any kind of pride in being a spiritual teacher or something. So he actually, this book's called Great Living in the Pure Encounter Between Master and Disciple, a volume of essays and commentaries on the Shin Buddhist texts, the Tanisho, in a new tradition. So this is Shinran's text, and so Shinran didn't have any disciples. There's all sorts of things that he just did that were just about being an ordinary person. So the whole thing about fame and infamy. So he wasn't afraid to call himself stupid, stubble-headed bompo, but in a way he kind of like guarded any sense of himself from any sense of conceit. Seeing that you're better than somebody else, or even worse than, or even the same as. So I think it can be quite liberating to think in terms of like not getting blown about by the worldly winds, by praise and blame, or fame and infamy, or pleasure and pain, or loss and gain. Because all of that is, it's like, as I said earlier, it's like setting a expectation of how things might be. And I think what happens then is you don't actually experience the life as it is, and you don't face things as they actually are. You're looking for something else. So you don't actually learn to be with, the ups and downs of life. And kind of in a way, sort of, Robert Bly talks about the way beyond the way, something like beyond the wound is through the wound, or something like that. So it's like it's only through going through life as it actually is that that we actually learn that, well, we actually become enlightened, because we sort of process it, really. We process how things are. and yeah, keep adding to our experience of how things are. And I suppose if you're blown about by fame and infamy, it can be quite liberating to to not be bothered about what people think. I mean, obviously you want to be bothered about what people think in terms of any harm done or benefit done to people, because you want to be benefiting people. So in that sense, you want to be bothered about what they think, but to be bothered about what people think because you're trying to put on a face or something, or an image, transmit an image or something like that, then you just it's just a hindrance, really, to being able to just be yourself. So anyway, I've not really said anything much about worldly winds, have I? But I'll try not to feel bad about it. And I've said a little bit, I suppose. Yeah. So I just wish you well for today, and see you next Monday. Okay. Bye bye.